Ron Van Dam. He's dashing and debonair, suave and sophisticated, intelligent and erudite, and he wrote this. You are listening to The Ron Van Dam Show on New England Broadcasting.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's the Ron Van Dam Show.
Okay, whatever.
Hold on tight, things can get a bit weird, if you like that sort of thing.
Well, thank you for turning me on in a non-sexual manner. I will now perform a show for you because you requested it. When I do a program like this, I tailor it for an individual person. I'm talking to you, Becky. Hey, Becky, my eyes are up here. I don't know who Becky is. I like to use that name because it's silly, but I don't know who she is, I swear. Hey, it's the middle of another week. It's the hump day for camels. This is when we honor camels, the only animals that can go for 20 years without drinking water. I don't believe I have the correct information on that particular fact. Why do I have to drink a lot of water? Because I can't store it like a camel. I don't have a hump on my back. I don't? If you're a human being, you don't want a hump. You don't want to. You don't want a hump. No. But it is the middle of the week, kids. It's just like if this makes a difference to you, half the week is over and you only have another half left before you have a weekend, and then you got to start all over again. What a pathetic life you lead. But that's your problem, not mine, so that's enough theme song. Oh, yeah, the middle of the week. Oh, my God. If you live for the weekend, then you got to change jobs or something, man, because you got to get it on, man. This is not the way this is supposed to work. No, not at all. You should enjoy every single day. Find an aspect of your life that you can enjoy on a daily basis, because otherwise this is not good for you. I'm just telling you. I mean, it's none of my business. I'm just telling you. I don't know anybody. Oh, that should be the end of the sentence. But it's not. There's more to it. I don't know anybody who doesn't have a good amount of baggage. And by baggage, I'm not talking about a suitcase when you go on vacation. I'm talking about stuff in your past that you carry with you through your entire life. It makes no sense. Unpack your baggage. I'm philosophically speaking to you. You, Becky. Yeah, you. All right. Anyway. Whatever. Whatever. My favorite word. Whatever. It is January, and I don't like January. It's the beginning. It's the start of a year that makes no difference whatsoever. It's as stupid as like Wednesday being the middle of the week. It's just that stupid January, the beginning of the year. Every day is a new day. Who was it? Isosceles, when he invented the triangle. You know, that instrument you play in the orchestra. Yeah, I think Isosceles said every day is a new beginning. Or maybe, I think Isosceles probably said it, but he wasn't the original one that did. I think it was Confucius. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure anymore. You know, there's a pressing problem that nobody seems to be addressing at all. We talk about it passively, and I think half the planet doesn't even buy into it. And that's the fact that, and I'm not going to don't worry about it, I'm not going to get all crazy on you, but the planet is like definitely not good. It's if the planet had a doctor, it had a primary care specialist, the doctor would say, "Excuse me, planet, You're in bad shape. Your labs came back. They're not looking good. Yeah, no, it's not good. The planet will survive, but the ability for life and human beings especially to actually survive on the planet, that's not going to happen. Because there'll be food shortages and people will kill each other for food. You think it's bad now? It's just the beginning, bozo. Yeah, that's why the concept of eternal life on this planet is not the greatest one in the world, but what are you going to do? So we started looking at going to Mars. You know, never happy with what you have, are you? Now you got to go to Mars and start a civilization there. Well, all I tell you is because the Earth is dwindling, you better step up your process of getting to Mars and starting a community and putting people up there because we're running out of time. My suggestion, as it has been since the very beginning when they announced they wanted to send people to Mars to start a colony, I said, well, I mean, Trump would be your perfect candidate. He can run Mars. He can be the dictator of Mars. That's fine with me. How about like now? How about trying that out right now? Yesterday, I don't know the organization that put, I think it was the, I don't know, whatever, the Weather Department of the United States, said that it was probably a world organization, the World Organization of Earth Medical Concerns, said that last year, 2023, which was last year according to my numbers, last year, 2023, was the hottest record ever since they started taking records. And I don't know when they did that. I think it was like the 1800s or something. They started like writing stuff down. Since they began observing weather and writing it down, this has been the hottest ever. So the cyclical thing is cyclically going out of control. If it's cyclical, then this cyclical was worse than the other cyclicals. And they also forecast that this was not the end of the hottest year thing. It could continue. And that would mean flooding beyond just a large rainstorm. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, then I guess you're not on my level, so just get lost. It's a serious thing. But here's the problem. The things that inhabit the earth that make the decisions are human beings. And right now, on the chart of human beings' intelligence, we're kind of like off the bottom of the chart. We've devolved into not even being able to walk upright. That's because we sit around too much. It's a serious problem. And even if the United States and Congress got together and made some big moves in order to stop the degradation of this planet, but that ain't going to happen because most of this country still wants to drill for oil and, pick apart the ground that we live on. So that ain't going to happen here, but even if it did, you got the rest of the world to deal with because everything is driven by money. And if I can make money destroying the earth and drilling for things and screwing it up and knocking down forests and all that kind of stuff, if I can change all that environment and I can make money off of it, I'm going to make money off of it. I don't care about the future. I won't be here. Oh, my God, what an attitude. I mean, if there's a heaven and a hell, they've got reservations for you downstairs. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's a horrible thing, and I don't even like to talk about it because it just demonstrates to me how incredibly ridiculous and all this conspiracy theory stuff that is just fun for people and they buy into it. It just really cyclical? No. 2023, the stupidest people so far? Yes, we've probably gotten there too. That's probably also a record, since records were kept on how stupid people really are. Yeah, it's not a happy day, kids, even though it is hump day, the middle of the week for a lot of you. Remember Greta Thunberg? Remember her? She was a kid, and she addressed the United Nations General Assembly, and she scolded them. A kid scolded adults for ruining her future on this planet. I love this girl, not in that way, but I mean, she had the balls. I don't know why we have that expression. Girls don't have testicles, but yet when you have testicles, it's a show of strength and courage. Got to change that one. Got to change it. Outdated. Here's Greta. This is what Greta said a couple of years ago.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Holy shit. Wow. There wasn't one word that wasn't accurate there. She should be president. Greta, yeah, you're so much on point that it's scary. And of course, the members of the General Assembly applaud her. That's about it. Lord. You know, I've said this before on the show. Joe Biden. I mean, it's a choice between a dictator and someone who likes democracy. My choice is clear, but Joe, here's what you're missing. Here's what you're missing, Joe. Both candidates are very high in age, so, you know, we kind of block that part of it out as far as I'm concerned. But here's my concern, Joe. This is how you draw in the younger generation into voting the next time around, coming up in November. Here's what you do. You assemble the smartest, brightest kids from high school and college. You assemble these fuckers, these kids, and young adults, you know, just started out in life. You assemble them, and you have them do what we call a think tank, but more than that, it's a committee. And they get together once a month, or every 6 months, whatever, and they discuss the matters that most affect their future, because they're the ones that are going to be here on the planet. And you give them a voice. And the president himself meets with them on a regular basis, every 6 months, whatever. Personally, they all get together. It can be at a Holiday Inn, I don't know, wherever. And they get together, and he listens to their concerns as a group. They agree on concerns, or if they don't agree, then he hears both sides. And that way, Joe, you've got to act upon some of those things that make sense. And that's how you do it, Joe. That's how you bring a generation into your generation. You listen to them, they listen to you, and you have these kumbaya meetings. It's not been done before, Joe, but it would be very successful. It couldn't hurt, it could only help. And not only will you get votes that way, but that's not really what it's about. It's what happens as a result, but that's not what it's about. It's about really tailoring lifestyle and government and this country to that generation and giving them a real say in it, a real mouth in how things are going to be as they get involved in their lives as middle-aged people, etc. Do it, Joe. I don't think Joe listens, and I say Joe with great respect. But Joe's the kind of guy, he says, hey, Ron, I'm Joe. That's the kind of guy he is. No matter what you think about his politics and all that kind of stuff, he's a regular guy. He's a regular guy. He would sit there and just talk to you and listen to you and have nice conversations. He's just a regular guy. No matter what you think of him otherwise, as far as his views. So, Joe, I don't know if you listen to this show. You really should, by the way. You really should. I mean, I don't want to gloat or anything, but you really should listen to this show. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here that, underneath the passive humor that I pass out. Underneath, there's a lot of good stuff happening here. If you know Joe, tell him to tune in and to take my advice about getting this committee of younger people together and actually personally engaging with them on a regular basis. I mean, it's I don't understand why you didn't come up with this before. Anyway, I have an interesting guest coming up shortly. I don't think he's short. I have met him in person. This is a telephone interview. And we're going to talk about a book that he's written that has to do with a World War II rescue and situation. I'll be honest with you, I was not in the military. Had I been in the military, they would have kicked me out and said, Ron, just do your show and shut up. I mean, don't shut up doing your show, but shut up in the military. We can't deal with you. And also physically, Ron, you're not even close, so no, forget it. But I was not in the military. I totally respect those that did and are. The situations that one must endure would be beyond my abilities, I will say. So I do admire that. I have no trouble saying that and feeling that. This is a gentleman whose father went through some of the most horrendous experiences during the war, as so many did. But this warranted a book and possibly even a screenplay for a movie. So he's going to join us momentarily. You might find this fascinating. But first, ladies and gentlemen, I don't just get into interviews willy-nilly, and I don't know who Willie is, and I certainly don't know who Nilly is. But I do play commercials for various reasons, and that would be to pay for this. So let's do that now. Here's a product that you don't think about very much, but it's kind of important to a lot of people.
Do you know that there is one item that can not only increase your home's beauty, but its value? That would be placemats. Hello, I'm George Karonapikopoulos, owner of George K's Wholesale Placemat Warehouse, your one-stop for all your placemat needs. We have a placemat for every room of your house. That's right, placemats are not just for the dining room anymore. Anywhere you might make a spill, or maybe where you eat, like in front of the TV. I do it all the time like you. You want a placemat. We have fancy placemats like in bamboo or teak. That's right, teak. Nice plastic laminate ones for no stains, even blue. We can custom make your placemats in as little as 2 weeks. Come to our showroom at the intersection of Route 27 and the Holbrook Turnpike. You're going to like what you see. Your placemat is waiting for you at George K's Wholesale Placemat Warehouse.
Gary Santos joins us now. He's an author of a very interesting novel called A Grand Pause, and it's based on true events. It's an incredible story. It takes place in the midst of World War II. How you doing today, Gary?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Ron?
Great, thank you. What prompted you to write this particular book?
It all starts with my father, Eugene Santos. He was a sailor on board the aircraft carrier Randolph during World War II. Oh. And he spoke often about his experience on the ship. And when he passed away in 2016, the stories suddenly stopped, and there was basically a void in my life. So to fill this void, I studied his ship, the USS Randolph, and just discovered the wonderful history of the ship, not only in World War II, but throughout the 1950s and 1960s.
Wow.
In the course of my research,
Mm-hmm.
I literally bumped into this incredible rescue of two aviators from the middle of Japan.
And that's a true story. But your book is a work of fiction.
It's novelized for the dialogue.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, and right. So it's a true story. Most of the sailors are true
Yeah.
in there. Everybody from Admiral Michener, the task force commander, all the way down to the lowliest sailor, who would be my father. I did create fictional characters. I created two Japanese kamikaze pilots on their last day of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I created a journalist on the Randolph that just, he asked the questions that the sailors can't ask, who are these kamikazes, or what's their motive? Sailors who are preoccupied with trying to survive, and they wouldn't ask the rhetorical questions, so I created the journalist.
Okay, so basically, you wrote a screenplay. In other words, it's a true story based on true incidents, and you wrote the dialogue for what they probably said. Is that accurate?
To an extent. I mean, when I bumped into the story in the National Archives, I'm researching. I'm not looking for any particular ideas to write about. I'm just researching my father's vessel. And so I'm pulling up action reports and the deck logs of the ship. And most of those documents are very dry reading. But when I came across this rescue, it actually was exciting. Almost the pilots who wrote this report almost felt that they had a sense of history. And I thought I was reading James Michener's The Bridges at Toko-Ri.
Oh.
That's how exciting it was.
All right. How long did it take you to write this?
I'd say about 2 years.
Wow.
Basically in home confinement during the pandemic.
Yes. It's a good time to write a book there, Gary, I suppose.
Right.
That's the bottom line. This must have brought back some incredibly great memories for you of your father's stories. As you say, spend a lot of time relaying them to you. It obviously was a major part of his life, right?
Yes. This ship was probably the second most important thing in his life after family. Even though his experience on the ship took place in a great conflict, a horrible conflict, it gave him direction in life. He grew up in poverty in New York City during the Depression and had no direction in life. This ship became his compass.
Yeah, a very typical story as far as that's concerned. But this, what he went through, is turned out to be a psychological thriller in a sense. I've always been curious when a person in the military acts so closely with other members of the military and go through this type of trauma, this type of partnership. Did he ever hook up with any of his former soldier mates, let's call them? Does that happen?
Well, yes. I mean, I've become quite active on the Facebook page of the ship's association.
Oh, they have one.
And they have meetings every year. I believe they're going to have another one in September of this year in Virginia.
How cool!
But Dad never participated in those.
Oh, and why?
Basically his experience was his memories, and those memories were vivid, absolutely vivid.
Yeah. Wow, I wish I had vivid memories from yesterday. I guess
I'm the same way.
Yeah, but I guess if you're going through something as critical as that, that's something that you do remember. He was involved in. Tell me about the rescue itself specifically, the crux of the book.
Okay, so the fleet is off the coast of Okinawa, warding off kamikazes attacks.
Wow.
And Admiral Michener winds up losing 2 flagships from kamikazes, as does Admiral Spoons, who's the 5th Fleet commander.
Yeah.
And May 14th, Michener takes the fast carrier task force, separates it from Okinawa, and they depart for the waters of Japan, where they're going to make strategic attacks on kamikaze bases on the southern island of Kyushu. Japan is an island nation, and 3 of the islands ring this sea. It's called the Cedar Inland Sea, considered the Asian Mediterranean. And during the briefing for the attacks, the intelligence officer said, if you experience trouble, don't ditch into this inlet sea. It's heavily, you're surrounded, it's trafficked by enemy vessels. You will not be rescued. Make all efforts to glide or ditch in the Pacific.
Yeah. And what did they do?
Of course, if you don't have an engine, you ditch wherever, whatever's in front of you. Right. And that was the case with the one airplane piloted by John Morris from Massachusetts and his gunner, Cletus Feigley from Missouri. So the plane ditches into the Cedar Inland Sea in sight of the Japanese. Now, the Japanese make attempts to try to capture the airmen floating in a raft. Small fishing vessels try to make excursions, but they're driven away by fighter airplanes that are overhead. At one point, a tanker tries to take the pilots, and they're forced they're eventually bombed by the patrolling fighters overhead.
I see.
And it's several things. Two Japanese destroyers show up. They had a couple of airplanes, and they just kept the patrolling fighters just kept everybody at bay.
Yeah, it's. Don't tell me the end. I'm sure it's a good thing. But wow. The comments about your book are that you have the ability to take the readers right into it again. In other words, you feel like you're going through it, and that's quite an art to be able to do that. So, congrats on that.
Oh, thank you very much.
The book's available everywhere?
It's online right now.
Online, good.
On Amazon. Well,
that's everywhere,
Barnes
Gary.
Noble.
That's everywhere.
Yeah. Amazon and Barnes and Noble online.
I think that's all there is now.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. All right. It's called A Grand Pause. Gary Santos is the author. Gary, do you have some way that people can look at your stuff and website and all that kind of stuff in this modern day and age of looking at people's stuff?
Yes, well, the book has a Facebook page. It'll be facebook.com/A Grand Pause.
Okay, so they can just go into the Facebook search thing and do A Grand Pause and find it that way.
Yes.
Very cool. Are you working on anything else?
Well, I am writing a history of Roosevelt Field nearby me on Long Island.
Yes.
But I'm actually assisting this independent filmmaker, marvelous filmmaker, in a documentary of the kamikaze and the fast carrier task group.
Nice.
His name is Rob Cook, and this documentary is called The Reign of Kamikaze. It should be out, I guess, within 6 months or to a year.
Yeah. And
what he's shown me and what he's talked about, it's going to be a marvelous film.
Wow. Well, you're certainly with what you've been told and what you've done here with the book, you're a good expert to be a part of that. It seems to be a good thing. So,
yeah, it's a small part, but I'm really honored to be part of that project.
Well, yeah, it's a small part that's probably quite big. Gary, it's a pleasure. Again, Gary Santos, you can Google his name, by the way, and you'll probably find it that way. But the book is called A Grand Pause, and it immerses you into that rescue and that time when things were critical, life and death. And as you say, you venture into that territory, you don't expect to come out or to be rescued. That's heavy stuff, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time today, and hope we speak in the future.
Absolutely. And I wish you and your audience a fine day.
Well, that'll do it for me today. I'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new program. Will you join me then? I'm leaving space so you can respond. Will you join me then? I don't... Did you know that I'm going to be back again tomorrow?
Sorry, I don't know that.
Yeah, well, I will. But until then, I wish you peace.